Good morning, everybody. I'm Linda with Pinky Mouse Cakes, Cookies, and Candy. Welcome to our page. Talked to Mary this morning. She's not feeling good today, so hope she feels better. And it's going to be another really pretty day here. Probably maybe have this camera up too high. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to leave it alone. I mess with that camera every time I get on here, so I'm going to leave it alone for right now. So today I'm going to be making something that that I haven't made in a very long time. And we lived in Albuquerque back eons ago. And when you're traveling through Arizona, New Mexico, the Southwest, it's very common to see vendors on the side of the road selling food or turquoise or their wares or something. And it's always fun to take a little trip, maybe up towards Santa Fe or, to see what you can find, go through the little towns. And they used to sell fry bread on the side of the road, and they would have it, make it fresh. You could get it hot. And I just, over the weekend, I thought, I'm going to make some fry bread. And it may be a total flop. It may be. And if we have some Native Americans who make fry bread, I would appreciate any tips. This is just a recipe that I got off the internet. So don't know. I wouldn't say it's authentic because I don't know. But if any of our friends have been around or have made fry bread, give me some comments and let me know what you think. And we'll see how mine turns out. So thank you for the hearts. I can't actually see who that is because it's a little far away, but y'all excuse me. I'll take a drink of my Sprite. This is my guilty pleasure. I didn't drink soft drinks for a very long time, but I started drinking Sprites a couple of months ago, and I allow myself one a day. No, anyway. Okay. So I'm just going to make a very small batch because I've already made a batch of the dough this morning. You have to let it rest a little while like you do with most doughs. So I wanted to mix this up, let y'all see me mixing it up, and then I'll get the one out that I've already done. So let me move my mat out of the way here. I'm going to use the dough hook on my mixer. You can mix this up by hand, but why not use a mixer, if you have one. And that may be one of the tips that y'all tell me that it should be mixed by hand. But I thank God that my shoulder is as well as it is, but it still hurts and it's still sore. And this is all-purpose flour, so I save my shoulder anytime I can. This is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I need to fill my flour canister up. And I'm going to use a tablespoonful of baking powder. And this is controversial. I looked at several recipes. Well, not salt. I'm going to use a little over a half a teaspoon of salt. You don't want it to have that bland taste. A lot of people use, or I say a lot of people, some recipes call for powdered milk. And if y'all, some of you may still use this, but I remember that Ma Lee always kept powdered milk because they lived in, down, way down in the country, and they didn't go to the store probably once every couple of weeks or so. So maybe not even that often. My cousins, Herschel, Noah, and some of my cousins, Sarah could probably tell me how often they went to the store because they lived down there too, beside them. But she kept powdered milk all the time. And I keep mine in the refrigerator just because I don't use it that often. But I'm going to use a tablespoon full of powdered milk. Some recipes call for sugar. I decided I'd use the powdered milk. So we've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, about 3/4 teaspoon of salt, and a tablespoonful of powdered milk. And I'm going to just whisk this real good, just so all this, the salt and stuff doesn't stay in one place. And then I'm going to use, I've got a little over a cup of warm water. I don't know how much I'll use of it, but I'm going to just pour a little bit in at a time and start your mixer off slow. You don't want flour all over your face, and glasses if you wear them. I think I used about a cup on the batch that I made earlier. Something I was going to ask y'all, and I don't remember what it was. But I've seen people, they always have fry bread at the fair, too, at the Mexico State Fair. And some people eat it plain, just plain hot. Some people drizzle honey or syrup or powdered sugar maybe, or just plain butter and eat it. And it's really good when it first comes out of the fire and it's hot. That's when I like to eat it. It's hot and crispy. Let's see. That's not quite a cup. And I'm going to see if y'all can see. Going to need just a little bit more to have it to come together. So I'm just going to pour a little bit at a time. I think that's going to be enough. And you want to knead it just a little bit. Now, I didn't knead it long at all, but you do want to knead it some. And like I said, you can do this by hand, but I figured since I got the mixer out, I may as well knead it with the mixer, with the dough hook. And then once this is ready, I'm just going to wrap it up in some plastic wrap and get this out of the way while that's finishing up. I got my burner on so I can heat up my oil. Now that's another thing that some people say to fry it in oil. Some people say to fry it in lard or shortening. I'm using oil, and I do have some lard, but I just decided I would use oil. This is almost ready. Well, mixer. So you can see it's all separated from the bowl there. And I'm just going to turn it off on some plastic wrap. So I used to have know a lot of people in Albuquerque, and we have some followers that y'all don't hardly ever hear me say that word. I don't even like that word. We have some friends that watch us. I'm just going to kind of just bring this up in a little ball. See, it doesn't stick to your hand, and that's about the right consistency. And I'm just going to wrap this up and let this sit about a half an hour. So we have some friends that watch us from Albuquerque and from that area. So if y'all make this, let me know if you make it, and don't laugh at mine. Okay, I'm just going to set this aside, get this out of the way, and get out what I've already had setting here that I've already done. I'll just stick this over here. And get this, get my mat back out. Now put the flour up. Now I got to get it back out. I'll get the small thing out this time though. So, you know, different parts of the country, you think about different parts of the world that has different cultures, different food, fixes different food, but also different parts of America fixes different kinds of food. And the Southwest is a really typical example of that. So this is, this is just a small batch. If you wanted to make a big batch, this would be easily doubled. And I'm just going to take my bench scraper and just cut this in little parts here. And I actually don't know how many this is going to make. I'm just totally guessing. So I'm going to do each part in thirds. I probably would have been better off. I didn't get that equal. Probably would have been better off if I would have just weighed it instead of trying to eyeball and cut it. This is probably going to be a little bit too big a piece. What I'm going for is, now some people make them the whole size of the skillet or the size of a plate. I want to make them about the size of a large bagel because I'm going to do this in a breakfast, like a breakfast sandwich. And I think if you wanted to make this, I think it would be really good to make for a brunch or for like a ladies' little tea or luncheon or something. It might not be necessarily for a tea because this is kind of a rustic dish. It's not like a fancy dish or anything. But I may have some little extra pieces there. Now, the way I've seen this done, and the only way that I know how to do it, and I'm going to have to sit down, I don't want to put my skillet with oil on the burner until I'm over there. I'm just like that. I don't like to have something on the fire that I can't sit and can't be right next to. So you kind of just play around with this, kind of like you're doing pizza dough. And that's how I'm going to do this. Let's see what we can come up with. So I've just got this little round thing here, and I'm just gonna keep going. According to everything that I read on the tips and everything, you don't want it too thick, but you don't want it too thin either. And you just keep working it until you get it about the thickness that you want. And I've seen women do this, kind of like women that makes tortillas, and men too, that have, generations of experience in their family and history and their culture and everything. And I certainly don't have that. I told Mary this morning, somebody put on here the other day, I didn't know what I was doing. It was on one of the videos I was doing. And I'm like, well, I never said I was a professional. So it was kind of funny. If I'd have said I was a professional, well, she probably would have had a right to say that. But anyway, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I still smile. Okay. I don't know if this is right or not. I'm just gonna, maybe it'd be better to work it with your hands. I don't know, but I kind of want it a little bit bigger than that. I don't want to stretch the dough. And I certainly don't have it in a good circle. So let me try my hand at another one, see if I can do it any better. I think I'm probably going to cook maybe like 3 at a time. It's funny how when you have something that you make all the time, like, and again, a lot of people make fried pies, but I know what I'm doing making fried pies, and I can do them, really, really quick. And because I've had a lot of experience. I don't have a lot of experience with this. So a lot of it just depends on how many times you've made them and if you have experience. And have you ever noticed that sometimes you make something that you hadn't made before, or maybe it's been a long time since you made it, and you have beginner's luck with it? And I think that happens sometimes, and then you try it again and it flops. That definitely do. So this weekend was busy, busy, busy weekend in Jefferson. This one looks a little bit more like a circle. First week in May is always the pilgrimage, and they do the Civil War reenactment with the cannons and all this stuff. And I've never been over there to it. We hear the booms and everything from here, and that's about as close as I want to get to those cannons. Okay, that looks like a little bit more like what I was going for than this first one that I did. Now I'll get over there in a minute and get to the stove. That's repetitious. You can feel that in your shoulders and your hands and your wrists, everything. It's really hard to believe that we're already in May. It seems like this year just started and it's fixing to be half over before you blink your eye. It's just, when you're a kid, it seems like time just drags on. You can't wait till you're 18. You know, you want to get grown. You want to get out of high school. You want to start your life as an adult, to either going to school or starting your career or whatever you plan on doing with your life, getting married and starting a family or whatever. But then when you reach a certain age, you kind of wish time would slow down a little bit. I think I'm going to try these 3 here and skip that first one that I made. Now, y'all know I don't, well, maybe you don't know, but I don't eat fried eggs. I've never eaten a fried egg in my life. And I don't know if I was hungry enough if I'd eat one or not. In my mind, I don't think I would. But if I was hungry enough, I might change my mind. But I'm going to attempt to cook a fried egg and show y'all how I'm going to plate this in a little bit. I got some bulk sausage, and I'll show you while I'm waiting on the grease to get hot. I'll show you what I put in that, and use my little hamburger press here to press out the patties. And y'all know that both Mary and I both are Pampered Chef consultants, and I did look before I started this video, and they do have those in stock. So if you wanted to get one, they are in stock, or at least they were this morning. I'll put it like that. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and move over there and get the skillet on. We'll just leave these here for right now, because I want my oil to get real hot. You'll see I've already heated the oil some, so it wasn't starting from scratch. You don't necessarily have to have deep oil, but you do need enough in the skillet to where it will, it will fry properly. So I bought a pound of Jimmy Dean bulk sausage, just regular sausage, the original. And I like to mix my own seasonings with it. So I'll tell you what I put in it. And I divided it out and made it into patties. So these are the seasonings that I use. Now, some people like sage, some people don't. I do. Put whatever seasonings your family likes in it. But I used probably about a teaspoon of sage, a couple of shakes of cayenne, and some black pepper. Always got to have my black pepper. And then this is a savory maple seasoning. And we use this on pork chops. And it's really good. It's savory, but it's still got that maple taste to it. And so I put, I don't know, probably about a half a teaspoon of this in it. And then I mixed it all up and cooked my sausage. I like them done, so don't think they're burnt, because this is the way I like them. I like my sausage done. I made the big patties because this is going to go down on the fry bread. And I just put those in foil and left them. And I'm using just Sam's Members Mark oil. You can use any kind of oil you want to. It's just, you know, this is a good price, and so that's what I'm using. Now I'm going to check this temperature here and see what our oil is. I'll probably do a little test fry on it to see if it's hot enough. I use that one that's out of shape to do that, because you don't want it so hot that it's going to cook the outside but not the inside, but you don't want it, you want it to be hot enough, because if you don't, it's just going to sog it. It's going to be grease logged. If you've ever got anything like at a fast food or something, this is not nearly hot enough. But if you ever got anything at a fast food that was just heavy in grease and just seemed like it was just, you know, grease was just dripping out of it, or oil, whatever you want to call it, more than likely, they put it in there when the grease wasn't hot enough. And that's real easy to do with fried pies. If you get something that's just dripping in grease, they put it in like not necessarily cold grease, but something that was definitely not hot enough to cook it. So I'm pretty particular about that too. And I'm going to get an egg out, set an egg out, so when I get ready to cook this egg, I'll have it, set it right there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have my fry bread, and then I'm going to put a sausage patty. Well, when it first comes out of the, when I drain it a little bit, then I'm going to take a pastry brush and just lightly brush the outside with butter and a little tiny bit of maple syrup. And then I'm going to put the sausage patty in the middle, and then the egg on top. And that's how, if I was making this for a group or serving it to people, that's how I would serve it, alongside with maybe some fresh fruit. And Mary and I plan to do a little short live tomorrow. It won't be cooking. It'll be in Longview if she's feeling like it. If she's not, then I'll make something here by myself. So that's just kind of, you know, that's kind of up in the air right now, depending on how she's feeling and if she's able to do that or not. I got my thermometer here, checking my temperature of my oil. I want it to be about 350 degrees. And also, if you didn't want to make this savory, you could do this like, you know, little kids are picky. Sometimes big kids are too. You could do like the fry bread and the butter and the syrup, or like I said, powdered sugar, and serve it with fresh fruit. You can even make some whipped cream to put on top of the fruit. So there's several different ways you could do this if you wanted to make something a little bit different. You know, this is just taking, I'm going to turn this up just a pinch here, so I'm not just wearing y'all out with my talk. This is the one I'm going to use to test. You wouldn't have to use a big piece. You could use a little piece, but I figured I'd just start with this one. We'll see how this one turns out. I set that right there. I asked somebody the other day, did they get bored? And now I know what some of you are going to say when I say this. No, I don't have a chance to get bored because I'm too busy. But I do get bored very easily. I think that's why I like to work on projects where I can finish them and move on to something else, because I get bored with it. So I just, I know there's so many people that has so many things to do in their life, their children, their grandchildren, different um, things, maybe with work related, or if they have a business, they're really busy running their business, their church, just whatever you're involved in. And then you have people that, this is not funny, but you have people with no children or no grandchildren or no great grandchildren. And so you're not as busy as people are that has families and different things. And it is really, really hard for me to chill, to sit still. And I think I've talked to y'all about this before. I think it's really important that we get to a place in our life that we can do that. And it goes against everything in me. But I think I finally reached the stage that I am okay with, or I don't think I am to the stage that I'm okay with letting myself rest and taking my time and not thinking that I've got to do everything in one day. Rome wasn't built in a day, and sometimes you just have to stop and smell the roses and enjoy your life, the best way you can. It's everybody's life is not ideal, and this is like watching for a pot to boil. When you're watching it, and it takes forever to boil. And I'm going from one thing to another. But anyway, it's good when you can let yourself know that it's okay. And a lot of times I'll look back and I'll think about different stages of my life, different decades. I measure things in numbers. That's just how I've always done. And where was I at, in my growing up years was in Nacogdoches, where, we grew up. And then, you move on to young adulthood, and then whatever you do with your life after you become an adult, if you get married, move away, or whatever. And then, a lot of people's lives has a lot of moves in them because of jobs, different circumstances. And so you have different times that you think about, different times in your life, what you were doing, where you were at, what kid was born during that time. It's just, I look back and I think about, where I was at when this kid was born, or when that kid was born, or something. And you think about if you could turn back time, if you could turn the clock back. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever thought this or not, but if you could turn back time, if I could do that, which I know it's not possible, one thing that I would do, and I would tell myself, and it's hard to tell a young person because you've got to experience it for yourself, and young people tend to think that, they need to make their own mistakes. They know more sometimes than an adult has that's already been through that age. But the big one thing that I would tell myself is to take care of my health. And I would definitely do that, because when you're in your 20s and even 30s and 40s, for the most part, generally speaking, not everybody, because there's people that have things that they've had all their life, even were born with. And those people suffer tremendously a lot of times that people don't know anything about. But for the most part, generally speaking, people are usually healthy in their younger years. And I would definitely tell myself, you're going to regret this later on in life if you don't take care of your health. So if any of y'all are listening to me that haven't reached that stage yet and still have time left, be kind to yourself and be kind to your body. And don't think that you can do everything by yourself. If you need help, ask. I have always been such an independent person. I don't like waiting on people. As in, if I'm asking them to do something, I want it done then. I don't want to wait on them to do it. And that's not good. I know that's not. But so what do I do? Or what did I do? I do it myself. So in order to keep from waiting on somebody or asking somebody for help. I would do whatever I needed help with. So those are things that I would change if I could change. Definitely the big thing that I would do different. Almost to the stage that we can put something in here now. So anytime you're putting something in hot grease or hot oil, whatever you put in there is going to cool it down. So once I put this in there, the temperature is going to drop, but I'm going to go ahead and put this in there and see if this is going to fry. Now, I don't know if that's quite hot enough or not. Maybe so, maybe not. I'm going to get a spoon. Kind of like when you're cooking an egg or a sopapilla, you want that to bubble up, because that's what makes that crispy when you get, those air pockets in it. And a little. It's not quite brown enough on that side. I want to get that a little bit browner. And I'm also going to get this oil a little bit hotter before I put the next one in. Now, some oils have a higher heat. What's the right word? They're able to take heat more than some oils are. And peanut oil is one of those. If you don't have any peanut allergies in your family, a peanut oil can sustain high oil temperatures, and some oils can't. So keep that in mind when you're frying something. You want to make sure this doesn't have a real high tolerance, this oil that I'm using. But and you can also tell by that grease right there on top that oil wasn't quite hot enough when I put that in there. And that's what I was talking about. When you put something in grease, if it's not hot enough, it's going to, high tolerance, thank you. It's going to look like it's soaked, and I don't want that, because that doesn't taste good. You want it crispy, but you don't want it greasy. Now, if y'all haven't never made these before, you may wait to find out how it looks, how mine look, before you decide if you want to make them, if you're going to make them or not. But let me know if you think you're going to make these after seeing this video. I definitely want this hotter. And I'm going to put it over here on this rack to drain. I've got this burner on that I'm going to cook my egg in, so I don't want to set my skillet on there. And I have a piece of parchment under my baking sheet here with the rack, just to help catch any loose oil or something. I'm going to go ahead and take this out. Now, this may not look anything like fry bread that y'all bought or made or seen on the side of the road. And I'm going to let that get a little bit hotter. So yesterday, I decided I wanted to do something different. And I don't eat near as much as I used to. Neither one of us do. Okay, Esther, thank you. Let me know how they turn out. And I'll put the recipe on with the pictures after this is over. So I wanted to do something different. So I love gold potatoes. They hold their texture good, and they don't fall apart, and they don't have them stringy things in the water or however you cook them. And I don't cook potatoes in water a whole lot anymore. But I got a package of center cut pork chops and divided them into 2 meals, because I only eat, actually I didn't even eat one, I ate a part of one. But they weren't super thick, but they were thicker than normal pork chops. So I browned them in the skillet, and I had my slow cooker on, and my Pepper Chef slow cooker, browned them in the skillet, and then put them in foil and covered them and let them rest just a minute. And then I peeled my potatoes. I fixed me some beef broth with about a half a teaspoon of beef base, and you could do better than bouillon. You could do bouillon or whatever you want. And I made my broth for my gravy. I peeled my potatoes, and then I put the pork chops in the slow cooker and put the potatoes in there. Lots of salt and pepper and good seasonings on it, and made the gravy and put them over it. And then I fixed peas and carrots for a vegetable, and that meal was so good. And I have plenty leftovers for today, so won't be cooking any supper tonight. And it was really delicious. I've never fixed them like that before. You know, I've fixed them in the oven or either just finished cooking them in the skillet on top of the stove, but I'd never done them like that. And I really did, really thought they were good, thought they were delicious. All right, now this one might be a little bit thinner than that was. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in here. I'm only gonna cook one at a time just because I don't want to overcrowd the skillet. And I know that, you know, if you're cooking, you can definitely cook more than one at a time. But since I'm not cooking very many, one at a time is okay. I'll put some of my seasonings back up. I can't read that. Now I'm going to do this one a little different so it doesn't puff up quite as much. I'm not going to put the oil on it with a spoon like I did the other one. I think this actually looks more like fry bread than that one over there did. And I'm not going to touch it until I think it's brown enough, and then I'll flip it on the other side. Now y'all are going to probably laugh at me about frying this egg. I don't fry eggs. I've fried a few in my life, but that's not my thing. Mike wants a fried egg, he fries it. I've watched Mom and Mama cook many a fried egg in a skillet full of mostly bacon grease or lard. And so I told Mary this morning, I said, I may flop on my fried egg. And she said, well, just start the skillet out low. You know, don't get it real hot when you start it out. So thanks for that tip, Mary, because I definitely wouldn't have known that. I would have had my skillet a little bit hotter. Okay, now this is looking a little more like fry bread. So the test on the one, that was good that I did that test. All right, not quite brown enough, so we'll let it stay just a little bit longer. I still don't like this, that it's not hot enough. I'm going to turn that burner up just a pinch. You know, the summer is getting here, so that means fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, a lot of things that you don't necessarily have during the year. They have it in the stores for the most part, but as far as the taste is much better when it's in season. And because we grew up with fresh vegetables that Pinkie Paw raised, they don't taste the same to me unless they're in season and what we call homegrown. So I'm looking forward to some really good tomatoes, and I still have lots of peas and butter beans in my freezer that I put up last year. So I probably am not going to get any of those, but I always love fresh tomatoes. I usually get them every week. There's a stand in Marshall that's open on the weekend, and I always stop there and get really good tomatoes that are delicious. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm glad I don't have a lot of these to fry. I can just hear my mama. Turn that burner up on high and get some things fried, girl. Okay, now this looks good on the back. See how nice that looks? But I still want it to get a little bit darker on the other side. And then I'm gonna put one more in there. But I'm gonna go ahead and start this egg because I don't want to keep y'all on here all day. I'm definitely not going to use that first one that I cooked. I want that middle to get a little darker. I don't like that too light. I love texture and I like crispy stuff. Okay. Now I think these will hold the shape pretty good because they, you know, it is kind of a stiff, little stiff dough. I'm going to go ahead and put my skillet on. I'm going to use just a tiny bit of bacon grease. And then I'm going to use oil. I'm going to use this bacon grease for flavor. Maybe a little more than that. Now this is just one egg, so I don't want a whole lot of oil in here. Yeah, this is definitely helping turning that burner up. So I probably should have had this on 375 instead of 350 because that's looking a lot better. Just let that cook just a little bit. All right, so here we go. We're gonna put this egg in there cold into a kind of a cold skillet. Let me get some salt and pepper. My Tupperware salt shaker that I've had probably for 40 years, the top finally broke off and I need to get another set, but I don't want to throw these away. I've had them such a long time. Just a little bit of salt and some pepper. Pepper makes everything better. I guess I need to turn that up a little bit. I definitely want to cook. Get a little bit of this cleaned up over here while I'm waiting. I want to plate it over here where it'll look halfway nice. Okay, yeah, that's cooked pretty good on that side, so this will be done in just a second here. Now the egg started to cook here. I would love to go back to Albuquerque. I love the Southwest. I love Santa Fe. I love all those little towns. San Bernardino, I believe it's north of Albuquerque, between Albuquerque and Santa Fe, and then Belen is south of Albuquerque. all those little towns around there. Just a lot of memories when I lived there. Y'all have heard me talk about some of them. Some of them wasn't so good. But I did have some good memories there. Okay, I'm going to turn this off here. Set that out of the way. I should have got a bigger skillet to cook this. I think fried eggs are really pretty if you can fry them right and the yellow doesn't burst. But it's just not something that I care for. Y'all probably think if I had a whole bunch of people to cook for, they'd be waiting on their food all day. I probably would be doing this a lot faster if I wasn't on camera. You know, you don't think about it if you've never done this, but when you're on camera, it's things are definitely a little different. We have Mother's Day coming up soon, and it's always always close to my birthday. And I thought all of my life I believed that birthdays should be as much about the mother as it is about the birthday person, because the mother is the one that went through 9 months of all kinds of things, and then through labor to get that child here. And I've always thought that the mother should be celebrated just as much as the child. And I am not going to flip this egg because I don't want it. I want the egg to be over easy. I want it to be runny. I'm not going to eat it, so I can make it runny. But that's how I want it. Okay, that's all I'm going to cook that. I'm just going to leave that up there. And then I'm going to move over here, and I'm going to plate my dish. So I've got a pretty little plate here. I think I probably got it at Home Goods, because I love buying stuff like that. It's the only one I've got. Don't have anything to match it. I just thought it was really cute and real pretty. And I've got some melted butter and some maple syrup here. And I'm going to get that out of that oil. Soak up a little bit of that grease there. And I'm going to take one of my things here, and I'm just going to do a little bit of butter around the edges. I don't want to cover the whole thing in butter. Get one of my sausage patties here, put it in the middle, and then put my egg on top. Oh, Lord, I flipped it. I was being so careful with this egg. Oh, goodness. I guess that was okay. I didn't totally ruin it. Just leave it to me to mess something up. I want a tiny bit of maple syrup. Not a lot, just a tiny bit. Now, my daddy would eat syrup on anything. And I thought about something this morning, and if any of my family is watching this, do y'all remember a brand, or any of our friends, do y'all remember a brand of syrup called Johnny Fair? It come in a big jug, and we always had syrup at the house. Daddy loved sorghum syrup. He loved any kind of syrup. But we bought Johnny Fair syrup, probably because it was probably cheap, and it was a big jug. And I hadn't even thought about that in years, literally years. But I thought about that this morning. And these are some really good strawberries here. That I'm just going to put a few strawberries on there. And the last thing I'm going to do, if you wanted to really make this cute, you could bust the yellow in the egg. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to ruin my sausage and my strawberries, because I wouldn't touch it if the egg got on there. But I think that's really pretty, and I think that's a really pretty way to do a presentation with it. Now, I'm going to do one with just that I'm going to eat. And it's just going to be some butter and a sausage and some maple syrup. And I don't care if this gets a little bit more butter on it than that other one. Okay. Now this is a big piece of sausage because I wanted the patties to be big. So I'm going to just take a bite of this and see how this tastes. Thank you, Jesus. Let's see how it tastes. It's nice and crunchy. That sausage is really, really good. It's got great seasonings in it. And if you grew up eating fresh pork sausage, as in where they actually dressed the hog and made fresh sausage from a fresh pork, it's really hard to find a sausage that tastes like it did back then. It's just almost impossible. So if you want the second best thing, just buy a pack of bulk sausage in the store, any kind you like, any brand you like, and add your own seasonings to it. And it definitely makes a big difference in the way it tastes when you add those extra seasonings. So let me know if y'all gonna try this. You could actually, if you wanted a lot of bread, you could do 2 pieces for a sandwich, or you could just do an open face sandwich like this and serve it. You could put all your eggs on one platter, all your sausage on the other, some fresh fruit, pineapple, strawberries, whatever you wanted on there, grapes, banana, let everybody, because this is kind of a heavy breakfast, and have some fresh fruit would complement that heavy breakfast. Let everybody build their own sandwich. And I think that's a fun way to do too, especially if you were having a brunch or a little party or get together. That way people could put on it what they wanted to put on it. And you could have, syrups, honey, powdered sugar shaker to shake it, to put over it, kind of like a, um, oh, I can't think of the name of it, but you know, like you used to get at the fair. So you could do different things, just however you wanted to do it. Hope y'all enjoyed this. I did not mean to keep y'all so long, but I actually am going to eat some of this and eat a couple of strawberries to go with it, and Mike can fix his own. But thanks for joining me, and I'll get these pictures and get the recipe on there. And one way or the other, Lord willing, either myself will be on in the morning or me and Mary will be on together in town. So have a wonderful day. Be sure to count your blessings and always be kind unto each other, and to people you like, and even to people you don't like, and to strangers. And thanks to everybody who wished my sweet friend in Ireland a happy birthday on this past Friday. See y'all later. Bye-bye.